Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Let's start with the obvious one. So no Jameis today. Are we expecting Andy Dalton's going to start on Sunday?
I mean, that's the right bet to place. Nobody will say it officially. Jameis Winston certainly doesn't want to rule himself out. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to backtrack before I answer your question. Nick and I made this point on the podcast. We both heard James Hurst say this at the same time. And I made a mental note of it. And then he brought it up, and I was going to tell you the exact same thing. You have to mention that in your rundown. Where James Hurst had a big smile on his face, and he was talking about how inspired they are by Jameis, that he's fighting through this, and he's a warrior, and he's a competitor. And I'm like, these are all the same things you would hear an offensive lineman say about Drew Brees or any other quarterback, probably what they're saying about Justin Herbert right now with the Chargers. And it's like, maybe we need to give Jameis a little more credit. We're all like, oh, you're 92%, you need to be benched. And it's like, this is the, courageousness that we credit in a lot of other quarterbacks. And he has those same qualities. Jameis is an alpha. Jameis is I don't care if you have to put duct tape on it. I'm going out there. But obviously it's up to, coaches and trainers to be like, well, you're going to hurt the team if you go out there. And I think in week 3, after seeing that the back is not necessarily getting better, and I think more even than affecting his passing, the fact that he can't run and that defenses now know he will not run, I think it is hurting the team a little bit. And I do think the right situation might be not performance-based, but we'll get you back out there when you're healthy, because this is not doing us any favors when you're not healthy. So that's what I'm guessing. But maybe if he takes the right shots and puts on the right padding, I mean, it is still his job to lose, and he hasn't lost it yet based solely on performance.
What else? Look, Mike, I look at the injury report, and it's extensive. I mean, it's like half your starters.
53-man roster.
Right. It's half your starters. So what am I supposed to make of that right now when you're going into this game at 1-2 that feels massively important?
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as the length of the names. It is important that Michael Thomas has not practiced all week, and when a guy doesn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, I'm usually pretty skeptical. So I'm pretty skeptical that Michael Thomas will play. I'm a little skeptical that Marcus May will play, because we have not seen him actually on the field. He's working off to the side with trainers. But I think everybody else on that list is going to play, including Jarvis Landry, including Tre'Quan Smith and Andrus Peat, who left with concussions, including Taysom Hill and Deontay Hardy, who didn't play. So I don't think it's as bad as all the names you're seeing imply. I think it'll be a relatively healthy. But Jameis Winston and Michael Thomas don't play. Those are big ones.
Mike Triplett is with us, by the way, neworleans.football. Does this offense just stink? Do we just have to realize that they're just not going to be good this year?
I've come closer to that evaluation than I was a week ago. I mean, a week ago I was saying, I look at Michael Thomas and Jarvis. First of all, Michael Thomas and Chris Olave are both playing great.
Yeah.
It's impossible to marry how well they're playing with how bad the offense looks. Alvin Kamara was fantastic all summer. There is no indication that he's lost a step. I do think, their quarterback play is now C- level by NFL standards. I think their offensive line play might be B- level now, and those are two things that used to be special.
Yeah.
But a week ago, I said, there's no way this offense can't score 23, 24 points every week. How can they not line up and have 2 touchdown drives and 3 field goal drives every week? And then when I saw them not be able to come anywhere close to that in Carolina, I'm like, I guess maybe they can't, and I don't know exactly what that is. I think a healthy Jameis is better than an injured Jameis. One of the realizations we came to this week was when Jameis was doing really well last year and he was only throwing for 180 yards, and he wasn't turning the ball over, he was running the ball a lot. It was one of his best assets. When his first 2 reads weren't open, he took off running and he moved the chains a few times a game. And that is completely eliminated from his game right now. So maybe a healthy Jameis if he gets healthier, or Andy Dalton if they switch to Andy Dalton. Maybe that adds just a little bit more, 2-3 more first downs a game. Obviously, I don't expect the running backs to fumble every week, which they've done so far. And one of them was a game-changing fumble. Alvin Kamara doesn't fumble. He might win that game.
Mark Ingram at the 10-yard line against Tampa.
Yeah. So, those penalties were so uncharacteristic last week. I don't think all of a sudden this is a Saints team that can't put 12 plays together without a penalty. But, I mean, it's just hard. They need to be close to perfect, and they're anything but right now.
But the defense has been really good.
Yeah.
How does the defense match up against Minnesota?
Well, every podcast conversation we've had, we've been like, all right, here's 48 minutes on everything we're worried about, and with 2 minutes left. Oh, by the way, they're playing the Minnesota Vikings this week, and Justin Jefferson is one of the biggest threats in the league, and the Saints have a guy who's playing cornerback as well as anyone in the NFL right now. Marshawn Lattimore is on fire, and last week so was Bradley Roby. DJ Moore, who is supposed to be a pretty good receiver in this league, had 1 catch for 2 yards last week. And Robbie Anderson only had 1 catch, too. Now, Baker Mayfield, that's another story.
Yeah.
Jameis Winston was not the worst quarterback on the field last week. But Marshawn Lattimore is playing lights out right now. And if he's going to shadow Justin Jefferson, I'd buy a ticket just to watch those snaps.
So what's a realistic expectation for this defense against Minnesota?
Well, Minnesota can light you up every once in a while, which is scary. Like Carolina, I kept thinking the Saints were going to come back because I was like, I don't think Carolina's ever going to cross midfield. I was looking at a lousy offense, and then they obviously had that one play. I mean, they win the game on 2 plays: the fumble return for a touchdown, which was their defense scoring, and then the missed tackles by P.J. Williams and Tyrann Mathieu, where they get that quote unquote cheap 67-yard touchdown that they didn't have to fight for. But Minnesota, they can score a 67-yard touchdown. Dalvin Cook can run for a 67-yard touchdown. Justin Jefferson can break loose for a 67-yard touchdown. If they get to the red zone, Adam Thielen's as good in the red zone as anyone in the league. So this team's scary. This is a team where you're going to have to score points. Maybe your defense is going to be the one that comes up with the game-changing play, not just we stopped him, we forced him to punt, we stopped him. Maybe the defense is going to have to score or turn the ball over in Saints scoring territory because this is a team that's not going to be held to nothing. But I'm a little surprised at how inefficient they've been the last couple of weeks. I mean, Minnesota's offense looked lights out in week 1, and they haven't been the last 2 weeks, so that's not a perfect team either.
I got to ask about Will Lutz as well. As big a deal as it was a year ago not having him, Mike, he's missed a kick in each of the first 3 games. I mean, what's going on?
I know. Well, he missed 2 this last game, so he's 3 of 6 total, but 2 of them were in the same game. Is that right? Or did he? He didn't miss one against Tampa, did he? I'm drawing a blank now, but he has missed at least 3. And you're right. I mean, that's one of those things that kicking is so crazy. I mean, it's like he's one of the best in the league. He had a great training camp. He kicks the game-winning 51-yarder in week 1. But then he misses 2. 1 blocked, and he's got a block. He's got a wide right. He's got an off the left upright. And you're just like, you just feel snake bit when that's happening because you wouldn't trade him for another kicker. But I think there might be a lot of pressure on this team too. I mean, everything is so magnified right now. Every 48-yard field goal attempt feels like life or death, and that's no way to live.
Yeah. He was 1 of 1 against Tampa, a 31-yarder. So he didn't miss against Tampa. My apologies.
No,
okay.
That's all right. But you're right. He's averaging 1 missed kick per game.
So he's missed 3.
Technically right.
All right. So before we let you go, and again, Mike Triplett on Twitter at Mike Triplett, neworleans.football. I don't know if you can still use the code TRIP to save 10%.
You know what?
If they're all used
out
up?
After the fact that last week you could still use it, but now I don't think you can.
SOL, I'll tell you what.
You know what? I think there's a Firehouse Subs promotion still going on. I heard Nick say that in the last podcast. But you know what? We're worth full price. We're worth full price. That's my ad slogan.
Okay. We're worth full price. We're charging a premium because, damn it, we're worth it. Okay. Let me finish with what I kind of talked about at the beginning, which is this being a massive game. And how do you put into context at 1-2 and what's ahead, how big this game is for New Orleans?
I'm not calling this one a must-win game in and of itself. But if you don't win this one, then you fly home for the entire full day of Monday, and you land back in New Orleans like sometime Monday. You sleep all day Tuesday, and you wake up and you've got a must-win game at home against Seattle. And frankly, maybe a must-win 2-game homestand against Seattle and Cincinnati. The pressure it puts on the rest of the season becomes enormous if you don't win this one. So you can come back from 1-3, but you leave your entire margin for error back in London. So this, and the exact opposite feeling. If you fly home 2-2 with 2 home games coming up, you feel like, all right, we sort of weathered the storm. Now we can settle in. And I mean, that's a huge difference between 1-3 and 2-2.
He's Mike Triplett on Twitter at Mike Triplett, neworleans.football. Get there, check out all the content. We appreciate it, man. Safe travels home.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.